But first, working from home, at least part-time, is at least as productive as working in the office. That's according to a new report from the Productivity Commission that was released this week. The report found that people working from home take less sickies and are less distracted. They also report a higher level of job satisfaction, which then begs the question, well, what's happening to productivity in this country? Because it's going down. Well, the Productivity Commission says it's nothing to do with people working in their pyjamas from home. It's just the fact that employers aren't providing enough new technology. They're not equipping staff with the means to have greater output. So here's the deal. Working from home is obviously contentious because the coalition went to an election and lost, promising to put public servants back into the office. So does this settle the matter? The coalition lost an election on this issue. The Productivity Commission say working from home doesn't affect productivity. Is the debate finally over? Is working from home here to stay, Freya?
Well, I think it definitely is here to stay in some form. And now that we've got hybrid work arrangements, I think they're too entrenched to really wind back. But I would say that I probably disagree with this Productivity Commission study on a few levels. I mean, one, with economics, you can kind of make modelling say whatever you want it to say if you use the right data. But also, it is true, business investment has been going down for the last 20 years, really. But we have seen a dramatic fall in productivity since COVID. It's down about 5.7% from its peak. Now, when you hear stories of public servants working from home, but actually going on caravan rides around Australia, and then you see that huge collapse in productivity, it does make you wonder, surely, I know some people are super productive at home, but on the whole, there have to be some people that are just rorting the system, and that's my issue with working from home.
But you know what? You don't have to be working from home to rort the system. And I think we all know people in the workplace, present company.
I was going to say, I'm all ears.
We all know people in the workplace who take the piss, frankly, and slacking off and really dragging it down for everyone else. And I think those are the same people who, if you put them in a home environment, are going to rort the system even further. I mean, aside from this report, I know from my own personal experience, since having young children, I've often had to do some of what I can do in this job, whether it be research or writing up pieces for the website, or a lot of work that goes behind the scenes in a television job. I'm able to do that from home, and it often means I'm up late, but I can be there for the bedtime for the kids where possible, and it is a godsend. And I think for young families who do not have a choice except to be working at the time where they're raising their children, because who can afford not to these days, it is an absolute blessing. And my husband often does it and helps out, and he's absolutely not slacking off. So I hope long may this continue. I'd like to see public servants not rort the system. I think a lot of them probably are, and it's a shame that the coalition's policy on this went down like a lead balloon, because in many respects I think it was good, because I think for a lot of people there's no excuse. They can easily be in the workplace.
I'm going to argue that you and your husband, wonderful people, are the exception. I think most people slack off when they're working from home.
But that's not what the survey actually found. I know that Freya says that numbers can
lies,
be fudged.
damn lies and statistics, right?
No.
And if you're slacking off at the office, I agree, there's a lot that slack off at the office, but it's easier to slack off at home. So I think...
But in some respects, you want to prove yourself even more. You want to continue to have that privilege. I mean, not if you're in the public service and your salary is, you've got it on some kind of tenure, you're like locked in.
Right.
That's the problem with the public service. The problem is also that it's taxpayer funded. So there needs to be accountability there. But if you're working for a company, if I'm working for a network like Sky, if I'm not producing stories, I'm eventually not going to be able to hold my job.
Yeah.
So I think people have to prove themselves even more when they're working from home in some respects.
I still think if you're a boss, then you have the right to say, if I'm paying you, then I want you here, not there. And that's my right. I'm paying the wages. If you don't like it, go work somewhere else. So I don't think this issue is over by a long shot.
And that's part of my issue with it. When people see it as a right more so than a privilege, you should have to earn the privilege, prove that you're capable of
Yes.
being productive at home, and then you get that opportunity.
It's not just productivity, though. This report found that it also increased job satisfaction. And the big
I bet it
problem,
did.
especially with, yes, I know, but a big
Pajamas.
well, you're not stuck on
Ugg boots.
yeah, but it's not just the pajamas. I don't know what's with you and your PJs tonight. Obviously,
loves
you're
them.
very, very close to them, but it's also the commute. Who wants to be stuck in peak
Absolutely.
hour
That
traffic?
is
That is
true.
a
Yeah.
huge problem. Being able to pick up your kids from school if you're a working mum. It's all those factors. Job satisfaction rated really highly, and I can understand why for all those reasons. And it's so difficult to retain good employees for bosses these days, especially when you're looking at millennials and younger. So why not continue?
And I guess one of the challenges is that women are often asked to work 2 jobs. In the home, that's 1 full-time job, and then out of the home at work. So working from home does allow young families to integrate them a little
Although
better.
hopefully the men are also working from
Yes,
home in the
hopefully.
sense of kids.